The Cold Omaha Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to Procedurally Generated. I'm Henry Bell, and joining me today are Tom Schreier, Brandon Bowling, and returning guest Trevor May. Guys, how's it going?
Pretty good.
I'm doing pretty good.
Great.
Nice to have you back, Trevor. It's been quite a while.
Yeah. I'm glad to be back on. I got a lot of stuff that I can talk about now, so I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Well, before we jump into that, let's get things started with a quick preview of the news. This week we're going to be covering the new Overwatch Anniversary update, the market explosion of WoW tokens after the news broke about Destiny 2 being run through the Battle.net launcher, Resident Evil being rebooted for another 6 movies, the World of Tanks marketing fiasco, and a whole lot more. But first, we're going to get things started with what we've been playing this week, and if you guys don't mind, I'd like to go first here because I actually played a couple of new releases, and one in particular is very timely. In fact, it's going to become available again for everyone to check out tomorrow, and that is Quake Champions. That's right, the new Quake game. I finally got my hands on it, and I have some thoughts. So, for those who don't know, Quake is one of the original first-person shooter series. It was like, it's well-known alongside Doom and Unreal Tournament, and is the undisputed king of specifically arena shooters. Think the ones where you spawn in with a basic weapon, and then there's guns laying on the ground that you run around and pick up, and health doesn't regenerate and all that. A traditional, hardcore first-person shooter. This is not that. It's not bad, but it's different. It's not exactly the same as like Quake Live or Quake 3 or some of the older Quake Arena games. What they've done is they've kind of mixed in a bit of a hero system, of course, I'm not going to say a la Overwatch, but it's clearly like inspired by Overwatch. The way the system works is that this is going to be a free-to-play game, or you can buy characters individually with microtransactions, or you can pay a full price up front, which unlocks all characters and all future characters, which is kind of cool. I like the different different levels of pricing models for different types of players. But the way it works for free-to-play players is you get access to the basic like Grunt class, which is the closest thing to the traditional like Quake Marine character. But all of the other champions, you can either rotate into them, because every week there's one free one, so you can check them out that week, or with in-game currency, like the stuff that you just earned from winning matches, you can rent them for 24 hours at a time. Now,
well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious what you guys think about this. How do you guys feel about, like, this is a trend I've seen in a fair number of first-person shooters, though it's not, like, huge at the moment. But what do you guys think about the idea of, like, renting guns in first-person shooters, or renting characters in, well, first-person shooters as well? Just the idea of, like, you go to the in-game store and spend in-game currency for a temporary benefit.
I'm not thrilled by it, but I think that as long as you have the option to make an actual purchase, it's fine. But it is interesting. It's like within a video game, why aren't you just getting something something solid, I guess? The
whole idea of rental rubs me the wrong way. It's fortunate that you are able to unlock stuff permanently, but it does bother me that there is no way, as a free-to-play player, no matter how many hours you spend in the game, at least as far as we know now, there is no way to permanently unlock characters. You have to spend that money if you want them permanently unlocked, period. You can rent them otherwise, but the rentals are annoying. 24-hour rental periods are kind of shitty, especially because it's not 24 hours of playtime, it's one day. So, you rent it at 5 p.m. when you get off work, you can play that character for that night because it's going to be gone when you get off work the next day.
Yeah, exactly. It's really, I don't know. When I look at it, the only positive I can see out of it is that you get to try out new classes to see if you like them or not.
Sure.
And then you can either choose to purchase them or proceed to grind the hell out of the game until you can afford to, like, actually permanently get them.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You do get a fair amount of in-game currency, at least from what I played in the beta over the weekend, but it kind of tapers off. It's because you get a lot of achievements and stuff at the beginning. To give you an idea, I probably played about 20 matches, maybe 25, over the course of the beta, and I want to say for the first day I had 5 characters rented and 1 unlocked. Then day 2 I could only afford to rent 1 character, and that I played it for 2 days. So basically, even though I had played quite a bit, after that initial push of unlocking several characters to check them all out, I was not able to afford a full roster or even close to it, even playing for several hours. So it's interesting. Okay. It's worth noting, though, the character differentiation is a little different from what you might be expecting. The way it works, and this is very strange for a first-person shooter, is the different classes, I mean, a traditional like arena-based first-person shooter, the different classes actually have different stats, which is kind of interesting. They have different sized hit boxes, like the character models are larger or smaller, making them easier or harder to hit. They also have variable amounts of health, variable speeds, which is an interesting one, and variable max shields, because of course you can collect armor in Quake games. And then in addition to that, everyone has 1 to 2 passive abilities and 1 active ability. So to give you an idea, the basic class, his active ability, which is pretty cool, I have to say, is a grenade that you throw, and it will explode when it goes off when it hits a wall or whatever. But if you press the action button again after throwing it, it will teleport you to the grenade instantly. So you can like throw it across the map, a la kind of like Sombra's teleporter in Overwatch, and then just like warp into the enemy, except the difference is it does big damage. And if you actually warp into their model, it's like a one-shot kill, which is pretty cool. His passive...
That's super dope. That just sounds cool as hell.
It's a lot of fun to do, I have to say. And then his passive is he takes 25% less damage from... he takes 25% less self-inflicted damage, which is important because, remember, Quake is the progenitor of the rocket jump. So here you're able to more effectively use rocket jumps to get up high and stuff without tanking your health every time you do it, which is pretty neat. To give you a little contrast, one of the beefier characters, my favorite, his name escapes me, I think it's Scalebound. He's like a big, like, kind of, he looks sort of like... what's his name? He looks sort of like that, I'm blanking, it's a comic book character, a big blue dude with like the celestial armor, Apocalypse. He looks kind of like Apocalypse, actually. It's kind of goofy, but he's a much larger character model. He has a lower top speed, much higher health, much higher armor, and then his passive ability, which this is really interesting because he has a lower top speed, but if his speed goes over 400 units, quote-unquote, which his normal top speed is 300 units, he damages enemies when he touches them. And you can combine that with his active ability, which is a charge attack. And the charge attack is nuts. You go crazy fast with that, and you can kill people with it outright if you build up enough speed. Also, it's worth...
You run forever, too.
Yes.
Can I just say
really
that... so you're the Juggernaut bitch.
Yes, definitely. 100%. Also, it's worth noting, though, that those are not the only ways to like get speed increases, because this is a Quake game, so obviously bunny hopping is a big part of it. So if you don't know what bunny hopping is, it's basically where you can build momentum in these old school... This is based on like a bug in their systems back in the day, but it became kind of a feature. There's a skill-based move you can do where... if you are moving in a direction, often strafing, and jumping and timing each jump so that as you hit the ground, you immediately jump off again, you can do what's called bunny hopping, where your max speed will just increase and increase and increase as you continue bunny hopping. Now, if you stop, you'll slow down super fast, but, you can cruise across the arenas just, like, bouncing. It's super fun. And I've always been a big fan of bunny hopping in first-person shooters. Plus, it's great evasive maneuvers.
Nice.
It's also got smaller, faster characters with cool abilities. To give you an idea of what one of the smaller characters' abilities are, one can put down a stream of electricity and then detonate it on a whim. And her passive is... what is her passive? Her passive is when she lands from jumping, she can slide to increase her speed, so she can chain slides and bunny hops to go even faster. It's really a lot of fun. It's very fast. It feels really rewarding. And I had a lot of fun with it. Now, that said, it does have some problems. Obviously, I have a bit of an issue with the way they do their free-to-play model, but since I'll be picking the game up at like the $60 price point or $50, however much the full price is, that's not too much of a concern for me. But what is a bigger concern is that netcode, you guys. That netcode is shit. They claim they have dedicated servers, but I was in many matches where I had like 40 ping and people were teleporting around. I was rubber banding, which is ridiculous. It's inexcusable in a fast-paced arena shooter. Like, it cannot happen. You have to have good netcode, and that is a real issue. When you're like bunny hopping across an arena on like a wire-thin bridge over an endless abyss, and there's dudes on either side of you shooting at you, you really need to not be teleporting around. It is very frustrating. I even had a couple of disconnections and one client crash because of a disconnect, which was pretty distressing considering we're already in the open beta phase. I don't think there's an official release date yet, but it is certainly concerning. Sorry, does anybody want to throw in here? I feel like I've been talking uninterrupted for like 10 minutes, but I have more to say.
Yeah, I wanted to ask real quick. Graphics-wise and just kind of the layouts of the maps in general, I mean, do you have a strong take on that?
Yeah, it looks great, and it runs really, really well. Although, if you're a crazy person like me who has played traditional shooters, it doesn't really matter to you how good it looks because you're going to be running it at medium or lower because you want frame rate over 100. These are games where, like, micro movements are vitally important.
Yeah, this is a game where my screens will like definitely shine. Just throw it on low.
Yeah, exactly. Get like 5. I mean, it's kind of like the thing where, you know, in esports you see like Counter-Strike pros playing with all minimum settings and running the game at like 1,000 frames a second because you get that additional control. Which is important when you're whipping around at like 30 miles an hour, bouncing up and down, trying to hit people across the map with a railgun headshot. You know, but no. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then in terms of just the layout of the maps, I mean, in terms of where the pinch points are and just sniping lanes and all that stuff.
I definitely have preferences, but yeah, I mean, have any of you particularly familiar with Quake, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I played Quake 4 years ago.
Okay.
Played like long time ago.
Me same.
Okay, so yeah, they actually do I think a great job. I think they brought back actually classic maps, though I'll admit I'm not such a fan of Quake that I can recognize multiplayer levels. However, they have that same like severe verticality. All of the multiplayer maps are like 2 to 4 stories. It's like giant temple shrines and stuff, and like collapsed dungeons, and it's very cool looking. They feel well balanced. The biggest complaint I have about the maps, though, isn't really a problem with the maps per se. It's a problem with the spawn points. There are plenty of times that you will spawn with a starter weapon, which I'll get to in a second here, and then just get lit up by a dude with like a rocket launcher who literally was standing next to you. I've had someone one-shot me with a shotgun point blank as I spawned in because they just happened to be there, which is a problem. You shouldn't be able to spawn that close to another character. It should blacklist spawn points that are right next to people, like every other game does. But that is my only complaint about the maps, to be honest. The variety is great among the 2 maps that I got to play in the beta. I really enjoyed them. Did not feel like they were unfair or like there were certain areas that were way better than others. They have a lot of the really fun like alternate ways of movement because you can rocket jump up stuff and use active abilities to move quickly, but they also have stairs, ramps, elevators, bouncy pad things, like all kinds of fun stuff like that as well. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed the map design quite a bit. Probably some of the best map design I've seen in a first-person shooter in, I can't even say. I mean, it's that long. I mean, it doesn't even compare. When you think of like modern multiplayer shooter maps, like Call of Duty and stuff like that, it's just a joke compared to the quality, at least in my opinion, of the level design for something like a Quake game.
Better than Hanamura?
You know, that's actually... I actually like Hanamura, I'll say. It's probably my favorite map in Overwatch. But, that said... yes, much better. It's just as asymmetrical, but with a little bit more variety. And it helps that it's like almost all Overwatch arenas are one story with like a couple ramparts or whatever. Whereas like in this game, it's like this is you could go 5 stories high on the spire, or you can be down on the ground, like, shooting up at people. Like, it's just the maps are large, which is nice. Also, it supports up to 8 versus 8 multiplayer, which is decent. 16 players in a match. Not the best ever, but honestly, there is a limit at how many players I want in a Quake-style shooter, just because it's hectic enough as it is. Brandon can attest to that. If I'm not mistaken, you got to see a couple minutes of me playing it, and it was like zany.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, there's a reason why I don't like arena shooters like that. It's just way too much for me to take in.
I love it.
I did play back in the day. I used to play a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually used to play Quake in high school. We used to do illegal LAN parties.
Yeah, man, that's my jam.
Yeah, we used to steal laptops, all huddle into a dorm barracks, and just like link everybody up, and we would do tournaments like that. And we used to get in so much trouble when we got caught.
That's hilarious. When I used to run my high school LAN club, when we would have our like massive 100-person LAN parties in the library, we would just bring like this super old like Quake arena, throw it on the network, and everybody could just jump in. It was fantastic.
Oh, so lucky, yeah. Because we used to do that, and then we also used to play a lot of Counter-Strike, the earlier ones.
But of course,
1.6
and Source.
What's amazing is that they were doing this all the way back in 2000. I was doing this back in 2001.
Yeah, well, Quake was one of the first LANable games. Like, it's LAN party. A lot of like what we think of as modern like LANs and esports events and stuff. A lot of that rose from the Quake community. Shitty $500 48 block switches that you'd like pick up from your job when they replaced it or whatever. Just like throw it in the basement for when your buddies come by.
I just remember ultimately it wasn't even like we had tables. We would like cram 6 to 8 people in a room, and like literally two people would be playing on the bed with the damn computers in their laps. Yeah. So like one dude had a tower that was leaning against his shoulder.
Nice.
On just like a carpeted bed, and we're just computer. Like, dude, that is not good.
So nice. So though I really enjoyed my time with it in the beta. It's an open beta, so really anybody can join. Just Google like Quake beta, and it starts up again tomorrow. It shut down at the end of the weekend last weekend, which was a bummer, but it will be back up Friday. So yeah, check that out if you haven't yet. It's free to see, and there actually is one other thing I wanted to touch on, and that is that part of the reason I do have a slight issue with the you can only rent characters in the free-to-play model is that there are already microtransactions and cosmetics in this game, in addition to the characters. But it's weird because, you guys, they're really, really, really good cosmetics. Like, they're super well done. It's the kind of stuff that I actually would want. Like, it's stuff like you can unlock the classic gun skins. So, like, you start with a machine gun, you can unlock that rotating. Exactly. You can unlock that rotating, like, drill-looking machine gun from the old games. They have
it's like a freaking drill.
Yep, they have the like circular saw melee weapon and all that stuff. Like, they brought back the old models for that, and then in addition to that, your characters have 3 full, at least at this point in the game, there's 3 full skin sets that you can get, but the skin sets are actually armor pieces, so you can mix and match them all. And then in addition to that, you can apply, there's like 100 shaders, which are like color schemes that you can apply to your customized character, so you can actually be really distinct and original looking from other people on your team, and it's not just like, oh, this is the best look, or this is the coolest. It's not like Overwatch, where it's like, whatever last season's holiday event was, that's the skins I use. It's like, you could actually be like, I like this shoulder pad and these pants, and I like, this helmet, and I'm gonna go with a purple and orange color scheme. I don't know. And then all my guns have custom models too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of torn however, it uses a loot crate system, and it's Overwatch's loot crate system where you get repeats, and if you get duplicates, they just convert it into a pathetically small amount of currency that you can use.
So I don't like it.
Yeah, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Like, yeah, it's basically as bad as Overwatch's, but I feel like since it offers so much more stuff, I like it more than Overwatch's, but then again, Overwatch doesn't make you pay for characters, but then again, Overwatch doesn't have a free-to-play option, so I guess it does make you pay for characters. So it's a hard comparison to make, and really, I don't think it's worth it, because they're very different types of first-person shooters. But I did want to mention that they do have the really cool but kind of annoying cosmetic item upgrades as well. And those do use a different kind of currency than the currency you use to rent characters. Those use currency that I'm pretty sure that you can exclusively get by disenchanting other skins or destroying other skins. Anyways, that was 20 minutes of Quake. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I think that'll do it for this week's Quake discussion. But yeah, I wanted to. It's topical. People are playing it. I just wanted to give some thoughts on it here. Speaking of topical and everyone's playing it, Trevor, you said you have been playing a pretty popular game lately, yeah?
Yes, it is known as PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Hell yeah.
Anyone who has not heard of this is under a rock. But we talked about, for one thing, I'm fairly new to the, Battleground type game.
Sure, these new Battle Royale.
Yeah, the Battle Royale games. And, as they go, I played H1Z1 before Pub came out, as we call it in the scene, Pub.
PUBG. Yeah.
PUBG. And I played it, and it's pretty fast paced, and it's a real steep learning curve for H1Z1. Battlegrounds is different. There's, of course, if you don't know where you're dropping, and you don't have the highest quality computer, you find yourself dropping in for the first, and as you probably can attest to this, Henry, for the first 15 hours maybe, especially if you're playing solos and not with friends right away, it's a lot of dropping in, not knowing really which guns you should get, and then thinking that everything is a person trying to kill you.
Yeah, definitely.
And so you're afraid to leave the house you just landed on, which was me, and it took me some self-talk and getting over it, playing some squads with a couple of my buddies, and actually getting a couple wins before I was like, you know what, I can do this, and I can play these first person, I can win that, because you're almost guaranteed to land with one other person where you're going to land. So if you can win that first fight, and move on, it's good, and you just got to take the fights.
Especially if you can get the loot that the guy's been picking up for you for like a minute and a half. You're like, oh, I'm like double ahead, I'm twice as far ahead as everyone else here.
Yeah, absolutely, and but vast majority of the time, there is some problems with the game. It is an early release, and we talked about netcode. There are times where you get in and people are teleporting everywhere, and every shot that you're putting directly in the center of a face is not hitting anything, and then
definitely
you're dead.
Especially at the beginning of matches, it seems like the first 2-3 minutes, everything is just bogged to shit, and then it kind of smooths out.
It smooths out as the first 50 people die in the first 1 minute.
I was wondering about that. Do you think that's why? Because I actually, you probably weren't privy to this, but we actually did a news story on this a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a month or two ago now. But the developers of Battlegrounds have actually come out and said there is a bug in the core code of the engine that is causing that latency. They're saying it's not actually server lag, believe it or not. They're saying it is the game itself, like the way the game is coded is making it lag, and they're trying to fix it, but it's like, it's like trying to, fix the engine of a running car. They gotta take it down for consideration.
Is that engine based? Because isn't it running off the same engine that DayZ and Armor and stuff?
No, this is a new engine.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Man. I could be mistaken. Let me double check here. Sorry, so Trevor,
I think it's a new engine. Yeah. But as for the play, there are times where, and it has, since the day it was released to now, it has improved. There's consistently less lag. But again, there's a couple of RNG type things that bother me a little bit. One is if you get a rainy day, it's impossible to hear anything but rain.
Oh my God, it's so bad. It's so bad.
And
this was my biggest
so loud,
complaint.
There's no way to fix it to make it so it's less loud.
Yeah, Trevor, back me up on this. Biggest downside to the whole game. How do we not have individual audio sliders? How can I not turn up footsteps, turn down gunshots, turn down... the fact that the only thing you can mute, basically, is mic chat is insane.
Which is very valuable.
I just said it to teams only.
To start, you're about to... the moment you get in the game the first time, you're like, what the hell is this sound.
Yeah.
And it's just everyone screaming whatever horrible racial slur they want to scream in the plane, because there's 100 people in a plane yelling in proximity chat. You can hear them all.
It's so bad.
That quickly is turned off. That, and had I had it on during any squad games when like they down you and then they're camping you, waiting for your team to come get you, the things that are being yelled at me, I've heard, are pretty incredible. So I'm glad I don't have that on. But yes, absolutely, they need to have the sliders. The rainy day. The thing is, if you go below, if your head is being covered from the rain, the sound goes away completely. So you can be on a little overhang rock, you go underneath it, and it's just silent. And then you take one step out, and it's just thunder, lightning, insane. So, like, for example, yesterday at a game, I was in the final two, and I was all locked in, ready to go, and I was like next to a rock, just hiding, and I was used to the sound, and the sound went away. It kept coming in and out based on like 1 inch. I was going left and right. I was like, that needs to stop. I can't hear anything. Like, there's probably a guy with a silence arm up the hill here.
Right.
I'm not going to hear him either way, but like, stop messing with me and going silent. Like, I think my headphones are going out or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I ended up getting killed by a silence arm.
Oh, no.
What happened was I had to run down. I was running out. He got the drop on me. I got desync, like I was behind a tree, and the last shot hit me right when he couldn't have seen me. And then the circle came like 1 inch past that tree, and I thought I was in the circle, and it just killed me. He won.
That's brutal.
As for the rest of the playability of the game, if you play H1Z1, and as what I've heard from the Arma mod and DayZ, it's clunkier in that you loot items slower. You like if you actually physically pick them up, they don't disappear.
There are ways to loot faster, but yes,
there are ways to loot faster. But yes, I loot with tab. You just go tab, it shows you everything you're near,
exactly, and then just take all.
Exactly where it is. A lot of times though, right at the beginning, you want to just. If there's one item, you want to just grab it because you don't want to have to get over drag. And
I'll be honest. Usually, I hand pick up my first gun, and then from then on, I use tab for inventory management.
There's all these little tricks, but if you're used to just running around and jumping with a shotgun constantly, like or getting out of a car that's moving, you can't get out of a car that's moving. If it is going 1 mile an hour, you're going to take a lot of damage.
No, do you know how many times I've gotten? You were hit by a vehicle when I bail out the passenger side door going like 10 miles an hour. It's like you killed yourself with your own car. I'm like, how is that physically possible? Like, that's not how physics works.
The first game I played, I tried to jump out of the car like an H1. I killed myself. I was like, what just happened? Like, I had no idea. I hadn't seen anyone play it yet. I got it right at the beginning, and it was awful. But same thing is when you want to go sprinting, right? You can go sprinting in right away, basically in H1 right now. There's a little delay between when your guy runs. There's little. He's like trying to get around a corner, peek around corners and stuff. You just the speed at which that happens is much slower than H1Z1. So be ready to do that.
Also, if you are planning on doing any cornering really at all, do not use third person. Like,
do not,
it's so dumb.
Shoot whatever's in front of you.
Well, no, not just that. I'm saying like cornering is in like just trying to make sharp turns. They've got that Witcher 3 thing going on where like they don't want your character to like instantly turn 180 degrees, so they make you like gradually turn, and it like doesn't quite work. Do you know what I mean?
But in
like
you actually have whip around, but in first person you can whip around.
Exactly. In first person there's no limit, but like if you're trying to run in a circle in third person, your character has to kind of proceed between the angle of the circle as he's run, around the curve of the circle, whereas in first person it's more like you're doing like an octagon. It's like straight lines. I don't know. That's something that I noticed like right away and was like, well, I'm only going to use third person when I'm sprinting in a straight line.
But other than that, and of course the RNG, they're fixing this, and they fixed it in the new patch. Actually, the last two circles of the RNG go very, very quickly. And the circles aren't uniform, as in
it's horseshit
kind of an H1.
It's way faster from one side than the other.
Yeah, they're faster, but like they H1, I feel like they center them a little bit more consistently. In PUBG. You can get this next circle anywhere within the near circle, and one of the sides can be touching the current circle. So
now, go ahead. Sorry, I just have a thought.
Yeah, sorry. The last two circles before it just closes itself off, which I've seen a couple wins that way. are like, I think it's a minute and a half between them. And so basically they're going so fast that there's 20 people left going into the final 3 circles, right? And everyone's got really good stuff. So if you kill somebody, you're like, I need an A time, or I need to grab this sniper, and I need all these, these heal over time meds that make me run faster. You honestly don't have the time to kill him, run to his body, hide, grab the stuff, and then not get killed by the circle, which is incrementally growing the speed at which it kills you anyways, as smaller and smaller it gets. But they've changed that now. I don't know. I think it's 2 minutes now. They added 30 seconds, which is good.
That is nice. I'm curious though. What do you think about, like? I really like that the circle it's like a random location within the previous circle, only because I feel like otherwise people can just like predict where the final circle will be.
Yeah.
Too easily.
And they'll just run to the middle of it. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like that.
It tends to be on like a hill with no buildings nearby. So like if they can get the high ground like in the last 3 circles or whatever with a decent gun and an 8x scope, they could just take it. They can just take it, yeah. That, and absolutely, and there is an element of trying to predict where it is, but you're wrong a lot. But then again, there's a whole strategy with just hugging the corners the whole time and getting people running out of the blue, which I kind of do too. I like
and
doing
always
that.
Coming from around wherever you think less people are coming from.
Guys, if you're a new player, when in doubt, go apartments. You will almost always end up in the circle, no matter where it spawns.
Apartments, yes, unless you get a circle, which this bothers me too. Which is you're on an island.
Oh,
my
God! I know what you're gonna say. Yes,
and there might be a circle that starts halfway out in the middle of the ocean, and there's no way anyone could be there, and so basically you look at it, you're like, there's 2 bridges going to the bottom island on this, in this map, and they are being camped. And especially if you're playing squads, there's 4 people hiding behind shit waiting for you to drive over. So
I've gotten very good at gauging swim times. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah, and the swim takes forever. So
oh my God, you guys, please patch in sprint, like, I don't know, the butterfly or something. This is ridiculous. Your character's doggy paddle.
Dude, and just take a video of
slow.
Take some imaging of Michael Phelps swimming and just port that into the game.
Just anything, a sprint button in the water, please, you guys. It's unforgivably slow. I'm telling you, I'm going to say swimming between those 2 islands, if you do a straight line, like in the middle, because the bridges are on either far side of the island, if you go across that middle, it's easily a 5-minute swim.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating.
4 or 5 minutes.
It's brutal. Like, it's ridiculous to the point where, like, I'm like, okay, the circle has closed in twice since I got in the water here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to die.
It's so go early. Yeah, absolutely. You have to go early. And if anyone sees you swimming, swimming and tracks you going, you're just gonna die.
Well,
if they have any weapon that's good, because it's like storming Normandy. You're coming out and there's just it's a flat beach for 300 yards, and there is nowhere to hide.
Exactly. So, where's the tree line? What the fuck? Let's get let's get like a mangrove forest up in this bitch.
So, but all of these things said, I've had a phenomenal time. There's nothing getting in a final 10 situation with where you're like kind of you're stalking a guy who's running in front of you who, for whatever reason, for me, I'm constantly scanning, not 360 degrees, where I'm jumping, peeking, just making sure that no one's like behind a rock with a shotgun. And I can be chasing a guy who's just running straight ahead, just tunnel visioned,
right?
And if he just turned around, he'd see me like 100 yards behind him, just sprinting at him, but he never turns around. So always scan. If you learn to scan your sectors, if you watch any top streamer of this game, Dr. Disrespect is a popular one.
Dr. Disrespect.
The dude knows exactly where everybody is at all times around him.
Well,
so
you
if
guys
you can take one thing, learn to look everywhere.
Left alt is your friend. I know that it's unintuitive and confusing, but you can sprint forward and look 180 degrees behind you if you hold alt. If you try to sprint forward and look behind you without holding alt, you're going to start strafing and move really slow. It's weird and unintuitive and took me forever to get used to, but use that alt key. It's really overpowered.
Yes, and no matter where you're looking, your character's face is going to point that way. I'm glad they added that in. Climbing anything is the clunkiest shit ever. Jumping up on boxes in Georgia Pole is ridiculous. Give allot yourself more time than you think it's going to take to get on top of those containers, because it's not as easy as you think it is. Those things, I think they could add like a grab the edge and pull yourself up option. That would change a lot of things. But all in all, extremely fun game. It's probably one of the best Battleground games made so far, and it's got a ton of potential. But they're running into the same problems that having 100 different people with different connections in the same game on a fairly large map. Those same problems are being sorted out here, but for an early release, and more often than not, the games go pretty smoothly. And they're adding new guns. There's opportunities to play short range weapons, mid-range weapons, Vector. Which you need an AR. And then, if you like the sniping, the bullet drops there, the leading the guys there, and they just fixed this scope thing that was really realistic, meaning the front of your gun wasn't necessarily pointing exactly where your scope was. It could be leading the scope, you know what I mean? Which is realistic, but it's a video game. Yeah. So we would like, if I'm going to lead a guy, I don't want to have to compensate for how much is my gun turning that way when I'm leading him. Exactly. The rotation of the barrel. The scope. Exactly. So
also, it is worth noting as well that they do really, really good regular updates for this game. Even for an early access title, it's insane. They do weekly minor updates and then monthly big updates where they add in new guns, new weapons, make it so that bullets bounce off of frying pans, which is the greatest thing ever. All kinds of really cool.
Yeah, they just had an update today, actually, that was like 5 gigs. So, they're definitely keeping it up.
Yeah, they just added a new sniper rifle that is probably going to be my new best friend. It's got an attached 4x scope, which, as a lot of you know, if you get everything beautifully, you got suppressors, you got sniper rifles, you probably didn't find a scope anywhere.
Of course not.
You have to kill somebody for it with iron sights, which is terrible. Right. But they added one that has a built-in. It goes into full auto mode for that turns basically into a vector when you're close. Not quite that much damage. It's more like an ump probably, but and it's fair. It's like that. It's between medium and super long range, and it's got a 10. It's probably just slightly less range than the SKS, so it's pretty. It's pretty cool, and it's already, you don't have to find a scope for it, which is good. And it takes 9mm ammo, which anyone who's played knows that there's a million of those in your first building.
Yeah, exactly. Now, question: have they fixed the Vector yet? Or I don't know if it was broken, but it felt broken as shit to me. It's got fucking 12-round magazines. What the fuck is that? This is the fastest rate of fire in the game.
100%. You have to have the extended mag, right? If you're going to run it.
But even then, it's smaller than most guns' starting mag size. Isn't the Vector well known for?
The smallest one is 20 rounds.
Yeah,
in real life.
It just weirded me out because I was like, "Ooh, Vector," and then I was like, "Actually, in most situations, I'd rather have a UMP," which is kind of. Plus, it uses.
I think they
shitty ammo. Sorry, go ahead.
They had to compensate with the amount of damage it does. So it does stupid damage. 4-shot, boom, you're dead. It's like a Tommy gun from
boom.
It's so maybe they should nerf the damage on it because
they did nerf the damage. So I don't know if they actually. Actually, I played today. They didn't up the clip. So.
I just feel like it's not a desirable weapon because you're at close range, 4 hits and they're done. Yeah, sure, but one shot with a shotgun and they're done at close range. If they're at close range anyways, why take a fucking? I don't know. That was one.
It's pretty solid.
They're working on the balance.
It's pretty solid in squads.
Fair enough. Okay, I guess I do play mostly solo with some duo play. I don't think I've ever done a full 4-person squad match.
Well, we should be able to do it now because if Trevor plays, it's me, you, Trevor.
Yeah, if your ass actually boots the game up, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's great.
I booted it.
That's great. Dude, I'm into play. I got 10 wins in squads. I'm totally our team's meat shield, so it's great. I can do that for us.
Awesome. Well, cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. In the end, I would recommend it, and I think that it's only going to get better. And they're moving a lot quicker than H1Z1 did with the updates.
For sure. And guys, even though it's in early access, I recommend checking it out if you are interested because it's at peak player count probably now. It's only going to go down, and so matchmaking is really solid in this game. So I would take advantage of that in a multiplayer only game if you can. Sweet. Awesome. Great. Tom, Brandon, I bet you guys played some games you want to talk about this week too, huh?
Yeah. Actually, I'm more interested to hear, Tom, you played some Prey this week, right?
I did. I bought Prey. I bought a game.
I want to hear your take on it because it's been a while since you've had something fresh and juicy.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm glad I bought it. It does feel a little bit like Dishonored, which I realize I'm on the second to last level, not the last level of Dishonored. Learned that the hard way.
You broke your promise. You said you'd be done. I thought we made a deal.
I feel so dishonored right now. You made a promise and you broke it.
You are dishonored, my friend.
Oh, goodness.
Now go sit in the corner and finish that dang game.
Yeah, I'm a mess.
Tell us what you think about Prey. No spoilers.
Yeah, no, I'm obviously not going to spoil the game. I will say this. So I bought it. I thought I was going to play for like an hour. This was actually a little while ago, and it was really nice out, so probably a long time ago. But I was like, it was like I played for like 5 hours, and then finally whoever was at my house was like, yeah, you should probably go outside.
I mean, that's the mark of a good game when you just like when the time just disappears, man.
Yeah,
some of the
definitely.
games I played where it's like I look in it's like in daytime and it's like 8 o'clock, and then I look in the outside and it's still daytime, and I realize I've been playing for like 12 hours. Like there's been games like that.
Those are the best games in my opinion. That's like Civilization, like most management games scratch that itch. Like those things where it's just like, oh, one more round. One more round. You know what? 3 more rounds.
No, I mean,
or you start getting real arbitrary rule sets to when you stop playing. I have to win 3 times consecutively with a score higher than this amount.
It's like having to make the last basket before you leave the court.
Yeah, it's serious.
Anyways, so I mean, I obviously enjoyed it. I think the twist early on is pretty interesting. I'm trying to think. I mean, like I said, it has a lot of the elements of Dishonored that I like, and it's familiar enough, but also different where it doesn't feel like I'm just playing like something they just recycled and put in space.
Except for looting items, right? Because looting items is literally Dishonored, and it weirds me out.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like I said, it's kind of, as much as I'm not done with Dishonored, this is a weird thing to say, but it's like I want more of it. And I mean, obviously, I just really like the game. The way I describe it, though, is Dishonored is kind of like a set of maps that you have to kind of figure out. I would say this game's kind of like a Rubik's Cube, where you're like trying to figure out one thing from every angle. And
yeah, it's got a lot of backtracking and exploration for sure.
Yeah, and so I do like that. I mean, it's in some ways it feels a little Metroid-ish, where it's like, oh, I'll come back to that when I have this power.
Definitely.
And you have to kind of inventory in your head, like, okay, how am I going to spread this out? It has Deus Ex elements that I really like. In general, I'm very curious because I did hear on a podcast. Actually, Trevor might be he might know Ben Lindbergh because he's a baseball writer. But
I do.
Yeah, so he's like me. He gets like really freaked out with video games. And I guess one of their other writers, Jason Charity, which I don't know what he covers, but he's like, yeah, there's a lot of jump scares at the end. And I'm like, well, shit. But,
I mean, there's a lot of jump scares in general. It's kind of like, I mean, I don't want to talk about it like at all in detail, but jump scares are a pretty regular thing in this game. In fact, you might say it's a mechanic.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be careful with spoilers. What I've seen so far is fine. Like, it's enough to keep me on edge. But the way I'd say is and I've heard a lot of people describe it like this. It's just uneasiness. Like you're just kind of if anything you feel it's like a survivor's mentality, and you're like, well, it's just weird. You're like, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
and
it's not like you're
that
gonna have nightmares about it. It's more like you might get spooked.
Yeah, it's like what's that horror game, Outlast or whatever that just came out?
Outlast 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I played that, I'd literally soil myself.
Oh, you wouldn't even like. I'm serious. As someone who's played a good chunk of that game, Tom, you wouldn't make it past the opening cutscene. They're like, we found a woman on the side of the road with mercury in her blood and a dead fetus in her stomach.
Yeah, there's.
Tom's like, I'm out.
Yeah, no, I'd be done.
And then your helicopter takes an EMP, I think, and crashes. And you're in the middle of a fucking swamp. A desert.
I'm not happy with any of that. This is cool. This is kind of like it's for someone like me who's really curious. Like it's kind of it satiates that. Like it's like, okay, I want to know what happened. Mm-hmm. I want to know about the people on board. It feels like everyone has a role because you can find out everything about all the NPCs. They're all like logged and there's data about them and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would say this. I love the recordings. I wish, I know that BioShock Infinite, for example, had a lot of recordings that were interesting to listen to. Yeah. And I kind of like that mechanic. I think these are really interesting conversations. Like I even better than kind of some in other games. Like I just think it gives a lot of personality to the game. So I don't know. I'm thrilled. I should spend money. Like I should stop being cheap.
Yes.
But this is what I'd say. Regardless, even if I just start getting super wigged out and I'm like I'm not going to finish this, I'll be like it's fine. The $60 I spent. It's worth it. It's I've had so far.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm glad you picked it up. I had a feeling you'd like it, and I think you'll continue to enjoy it because it does. It's a mashup, and this isn't a spoiler or anything, but it's definitely moves more into the sort of Dishonored style like storytelling elements with like branching paths and stuff as you get further in, which is cool.
And a great environment. I mean, as much as Dishonored, you see more like different spaces in the game, takes you different places. This, I mean, it's cool. Like they did a really good job laying it out.
Yeah, definitely. That's all. Yeah, I think it almost because like Dishonored feels like it was inspired by like Victorian era stuff, whereas Prey just feels very original.
Yeah, I agree with that. And really both have their merits, but this, like I said, it's enough. It has good elements of Dishonored, but it's different enough. It's not like I'm like, well, this is kind of Dishonored 2.5 in space. Right. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
What I like about the aesthetic is that it has like that 80s design where like it's kind of like if space was super, super successful back in the 60s and 70s, like that aesthetic just stuck. So everything in space kind of has like this wood grainy 80s vibe. So you have super cool technology that's like wrapped in wood grain because it's high class.
Hell
which
yeah.
I think is hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
So, and Tom, in 10 years when you finally finish the game, we can do a spoiler cast, because this is like the first game in ages that we're all playing.
I
just realized that, like, the way this is going, I will literally be 40 years old when we do a spoiler cast of this.
So I think
it's like, what?
I think just in general, just in terms of where my interest is at and just trying to be like a good podcast member, I think I'm going to push on doing this one more. Just because with Dishonored, as soon as I finish... By the way, just FYI, don't start with no powers, no weapons. You
dum-dum. I bet this is the longest playthrough in the world just because you're like dead, died, dead, dead again, spotted, dead.
To be fair, I did take a page out of his book because I started playing Prey. So far, I've used no powers.
Yeah. Anyways, so
really quick Prey thing, just kind of an FYI for people. I figured out, so you need to get health bays in order to get health, and you should use the recycle machine a lot. How do you get freaking armor? Like, I haven't had armor throughout the whole game. Why is this happening?
Oh, I can actually answer that question for you.
Okay.
So the armor is like more of an energy level thing, like a la Half-Life. So you actually have something in your inventory that's like suit repair.
Oh, he needs the suit, yeah. You need to use the suit repair kits, yeah.
And if you're out of those, is there anything like the health bay that just like fills your armor up?
I don't know what you mean by the health bay, but you can make more suit repair kits with the 3D printer.
Now, okay. Once you get the blueprint, and yes,
but they're also pretty common. I mean, they're everywhere. You probably have like 25 in your inventory and just haven't seen them.
No, I've used them. Sorry, Brandon, what were you going to say?
This is more for there are like med bays that like wall mounted that actually do recharge your health rather than just taking
there's the portable doctor sentinel things, but
is there that for the suit? Or is the suit?
Yes, there is that for the suit. The engineering bays. You can create a drone that will repair your suit. You can create a drone that will restore another resource, and you can create a drone that will restore your health. Those are the three different type. There's science, engineering, and medical. But you'll run into that more as you get further on. Anyways, though, we just want to keep things moving here. So, Brandon, you want to talk about Vanquish for a minute here?
So Vanquish, following the Sega trend for Platinum Games, they're coming out with a lot of the console exclusives. And Vanquish is made by the same guys that made Bayonetta, and it's a third-person like action shoot 'em up, like with like subtle RPG elements. And by subtle, I mean like you can upgrade your weapons, and that's about it.
Sure.
this game plays on a lot of the outrageous nature that you see from other Platinum games like Bayonetta, where the main sell here is that the gameplay is very similar to, like, say, any third-person action shooter, with the twist being is that you're in, like, this super cool armor called, like, an augmented acceleration suit, which basically allows you to super speed yourself and effectively slow time around you. So you're not slowing down time, you're just moving so much faster.
You can drift without a vehicle. It's so good. Yeah. Like, it's super sweet.
I actually, like, got caught on this game because, like, it's literally a suit that, like, accelerates your body, and then it has just jets just strapped to every portion. So, like, you'll have jetpacks that, like, ignite on your hips, and you'll just slide around shooting people.
Yeah, your character's, like, gliding around on his knees, like, shooting over barricades and stuff. It's super... Brandon and I were talking about it before the show, and I got kind of mad at him because he kept saying, it's like Bayonetta, it's like Bayonetta. And then I looked up a video of it. Yeah, that's probably the best description possible for the game.
It's effectively like a sci-fi version of the game because, like, you have, like, because you play Bayonetta, it's like, oh, I just curb stop somebody with my hair that's in the shape of a foot and, like, the size of a 2-story building. Like, in this game, it's kind of the similar concept, like, where I literally a giant mech just shot me with a bullet the size of, like, a car. I spin around it, turn it on its axis, throw it down the bullet hole that it came out of, and then I jump in the bullet hole too, and then I just burst out of the side of it like I'm, like, being exploded out of, like, a building. And I'm just like, what's going on here? None of this actually makes any sense.
Right.
And it has B-rated dialogue, like, where it's just like you take down that same boss that you go in the beginning, like, in 5 seconds later on in the game, and then you, like, your character's like, so, how was that? And then, like, your supporting character's like, I call that being an asshole. Bro fist. And they're just like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, like, it's very adequate for the type of game. Like, your character Sam, who's like a grizzled scientist who's field testing this suit against, like, space Russians and robots in a giant, like, space colony.
Of course, obviously.
Makes sense, but, like, honestly, once you start, like, actually playing, none of it really matters because, like, this is the best way to describe the game about keeping it short and sweet. So I actually bought it today and actually just plugged it in, played 15 minutes of it. In the 15 minutes, I was already being, like, just totally, like, shunted, like, by 6 enemies and, like, this huge, like, mini boss. So what I ended up doing was I lit a cigarette in the game and just threw it. And the cherry aggroed all the enemies. And while they were staring at the floating cigarette, I threw a grenade that stunned all of them. Jumped over my cover, slowed down time, took 3 headshots, ran out of ammo, immediately switched to a shotgun. And mind you don't switch weapons by, like, storing them on your back. My gun just straight up transformed into a shotgun. Took out 3 more enemies. Then jumped back into regular time, slid under, like, these falling enemies, jumped to the big enemy, and did an immediate, like, soul-crushing, like, melee blow that immediately just, like, maxed out my suit. And immediately heat sinks just start bursting from my body as I'm trying to, like, displace all this heat from, like, hitting this guy. And then I just 3-piece him in the face. And this game has such good impact. Like, this dude's, like, 3 times my size, but when I just, like, face clap him with a shotgun, he's just like, oh my gosh, I just got hit with a meteor. Bam. And then, like, I hit him 3 times, turn around, do the same mechanic where I smoke a cigarette, like, while I was facing my screen, and just blows up behind me. And I'm just like, oh, I remember this. I remember how awesome this game is.
Yeah.
And that's effectively the best way I can describe this game without going to extreme details. The
it
only
looks
other
really
mechanic
fun.
that really matters is just make sure you manage, like, your bullet time mechanic or the acceleration mechanic. And don't forget to use cigarettes in the game. And you can upgrade on the fly. You can upgrade your guns on the fly with this blade system thing where your gun holds the memory of how weapons look and then transforms as necessary.
Oh, of
and whatever
course,
gun
obviously.
you have equipped, when you run into an upgrade node, it just automatically upgrades the weapon and gives you a choice. What does it automatically do? It gives you a choice between, like, damage, reload, and ammo capacity.
Nice.
So that's the only real mechanic that really matters. Just jump in and have fun. Like,
Yeah.
for $20.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the clincher is the price. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, pick up this and
$20.
Bayonetta. These are just great games for just insane. I can't believe this. You guys know Street Fighter Ultimate is coming out on Switch tomorrow for $40. It's Street Fighter 2 remastered. And yet these re-release at $20. get these games, damn it. Like, they're good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, $20, like, I can't, like, there's no, like, wait for a sale. Like, no, just buy it.
$20.
Like, it's good. It's long. There's replayability. It has a score-based system similar to, well, not similar to, but like what was that one game? Not Bulletstorm. There we go, Bulletstorm.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very indicative to like the Japanese style, where it's like you get your S class because of time, chain attacks, and things of that nature. So you're not going to get like a nickname for like blowing a dude's torso off.
Right.
But rather, if you chain your attacks and like beat it, including the boss in a short period of time,
do you have sufficient attack type variety? All that stuff, yeah. Classic.
Yes, it's so cool. Yeah, just go for it. I'm done. Like, there's no point in going any farther. Just trust me. My description of like my first 15 minutes of the game, it did not sell you. You're probably just dead inside.
I was going to say, like, for real, then you're not a red-blooded American. But, awesome. Thank you very much for the info, Brandon. And I'm probably going to be picking up this weekend, so we can talk about it some more next week. Maybe we'll cover how every different gun has different melee attacks. But you'll have to tune in to find out. However, before we move on to the news, there's one more game I absolutely have to talk about. I know we're already at almost an hour, but for real, you guys... Oxygen Not Included came out into early access this week. And
I saw a couple of videos for this.
This is a really big deal. Yeah, which actually, if you guys are interested, you can see a couple of videos on my YouTube channel, Lesser Noob. Go ahead and check it out. But this is the latest game from Clay Entertainment, the makers of Don't Starve and Shank and a bunch of other great games, indie games that I'm a big fan of. This one is a roguelike space management, or space colony management simulator. It's like super difficult. Basically, the premise is you wake up. You have 3 replicants that get teleported into their duplicates. Excuse me. They get teleported into the center of an asteroid, and you have to manage fluids and gases in order to survive. So, like, you spawn in, and there's oxygen, and your duplicates start breathing it up. And they're exhaling carbon dioxide, and you better find a way to deal with that before you get too far along, or everybody's going to suffocate and die. It's really, really, really fun. It feels like it's pretty well along. You guys may remember that this actually had some alpha coverage done by a bunch of big YouTubers about 2 months ago. But now it is actually available on Steam. I think it's $25. Super worth it. I've easily put 30 hours into it already. Definitely one of these time vampires where you're like, oh shit, it's already like 10 o'clock and I wanted to do something else tonight. Well, guess not. It uses a lot of Dwarf Fortress-esque mechanics where like, everything can go to shit in an instant. You might like break through, you might be mining at like some copper or something, break through a wall that has some slime on the other side. The slime outputs polluted oxygen. The polluted oxygen gets into your rooms, and if you're not purifying it, it makes your guys sick. Your guys get sick, they start throwing up. The place gets dirty, everybody gets stressed. People start destroying stuff and having their stress responses, and then people just, like, die. It's, like, brutal. It's really easy to spiral out of control in this game. So it's, like, very much a how many plates can you keep spinning at once kind of thing, which is very, very, very fun. Characters all have, like, upsides and downsides, but it's randomly generated. You can't, like, you don't pick people's skills or their traits. You can re-roll them at the initial start of the game, but from then on, when you get new additional duplicates added in, you get to choose from 3 randomly generated ones, or you just don't get one. You can't like tweak stuff. So like, for example, you might have one that's like Noisy Sleeper, and that will destroy your entire colony because nobody can sleep at night because somebody's snoring too loud. And the only workaround for that is to put their bunk like way off away from everyone else's. So I just don't take Noisy Sleeper guys because I'm like, fuck that. I'm not losing the whole colony over one dude snoring. So yeah, it's really, really fun. It's got quite a bit of content in it already. It's going to be getting regular updates. As we all know, Clay delivers on their ideas. If you know Don't Starve or Don't Starve Together, then you know that they are good to their word. Highly recommend that you guys check this out. Yeah, Oxygen Not Included. Anyways, though, we're going to take a quick break here, but don't go anywhere, because we are going to be right back with the news. And we're back. All right, let's get things started right away with the news. And the big thing that everyone's been talking about this week is the Overwatch Anniversary update. Yeah.
It's been a year, guys.
Yeah, I know. Can you guys believe it's already been a year since Overwatch came out? That's actually kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, but like the sheer amount of content that came out for it over the course of this year is pretty impressive.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Speaking of, the new update adds a ton of new content. Holy crap. It's got new legendary skins for all the new champions, some of which are really slick. In particular, I'm a big fan of Sombra's outfit she has from Tracer's outfit she has that reminds me of like Sombra's intro video. She's got like the too big hoodie and like her guns look like they're like spray paint guns or something, which is pretty great. Cool. There's a bunch of really cool ones, and they've also added in dancing emotes. Really good dancing emotes. They're fantastic. On top of that, we have another 2 maps have been added in, which is pretty big. 3 new maps, specifically to the 3v3 elimination mode, which you guys may remember my biggest complaint about the 3v3 elimination was that I wanted more map variety. Tom, I know you felt the same way.
Completely agree. It's the mode I play most, probably.
It's the best mode. It's Counter-Strike mode. It's so good.
Trevor, do you play it?
Dude, I play it, and I run a monthly 3v3 tournament in that mode.
Fuck yeah.
No.
So I'm excited to add the new tournament. Maps, but we had to. We were actually moving into the adding the Koth maps, but they kind of suck for 3v3s. Like for Oasis is terrible for 3v3s.
Oh my God,
so we weren't able
to
use that with the bouncy pad. Just one team wins, one team loses, basically.
Right.
But adding those in, we're just going to run them on the 3 that exist, and it should be really, really fun. I played them a couple times. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Some of these, like I said, some of the new skins are really great. I'll be honest though, I don't know about you guys, I'm starting to experience a little bit of skin fatigue in Overwatch. I don't know why. I just can't get that excited about it anymore. I think it's because they've done a really good job of keeping a constant stream of limited time skins going all the time. But it's to the point now where like I don't get as excited or like compelled to jump in to get the latest loot box stuff because I'm just so tired of grinding loot boxes as hard as I can every month. Like once a month, the new content drops, and you better hurry and get that skin, and you're going to wear it for all of a month until the next skin comes out, and it's just like, oh my God, the treadmill, you guys.
They need to give you more gold for repeats. Like they absolutely need to do
you know what they need to do? It's so goddamn stupid. It drives me mad. Repeats shouldn't be a thing. You should not be able to get something if you've already gotten it.
Actually, that's a really good point.
It's just, like, it's such a dick move that you can. It's such a fuck you to dedicated fans. It's like, oh, you have spent more money than 90... Like, Trevor, I bet you can attest to this. You've probably purchased a fair number of loot boxes, and you actually basically get punished the more that you buy. Because you've got more stuff unlocked, and it's like, they're punishing the people who they should be rewarding because they're spending money. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, also, remove 2 of the things. Give us 3 items if you worried about us getting them too quickly.
Yeah.
Give us 3 items and then no repeats.
Or shit. Make 2 tiers of loot boxes. For fuck's sake, I'll pay an increased amount of gold if it means like make it so there's a tier of loot boxes that is like no repeats guaranteed. And I'll pay 3 times more for it or whatever. Like it's just so frustrating. I mean, it's something that happens in almost all the Blizzard's games now. It's definitely an issue in Hearthstone as well. But at least in Hearthstone, it's stuff that affects the gameplay. It's new cards and stuff like that. Here, it's just like it's cosmetics, which is fine and it's optional and all that. But it's just a little. It's not enough to compel me to jump back in anymore. At this point, I haven't consistently played Overwatch except for jumping in for like a weekend to check out a new mode for almost half a year. Like really, I haven't been super into it since like the Junkenstein event.
Sorry, dog.
All good. But yeah, I don't know about you guys. I don't know. I've been a little bit Rabbi. Like that really helps, Tom. That's way better than the dog barking as you screaming into your microphone.
Sorry.
Jeez. All right. So anyways, though.
So your dog's a rabbi?
We call her Mad Eye the Rabbi.
For God's sakes.
Anyway.
Your dog is Jewish? That's impressive.
So, yeah. Anyways, what I'm trying to get to is I don't know. I'm hoping this is probably the best patch in a while that's gotten me compelled, in particular because the dances are super good. Like, if you guys haven't seen it, look up Sombra's dance. It's amazing.
Yeah, there are good ones.
What it is. Yeah, I'm like, there's content, but the dancing.
Or like the
A couple of them are terrible though. There's like one that's drives me. Arissa's is awful, but you know what else? What else?
We were just talking about that when we took a break. Oh my god, Brandon and I just had this conversation like during the break in between the two segments. I was like, Orisa sucks in every way. She's a terrible tank. Her design is nothing but a mashup between Zenyatta and Zarya, like in terms of like how she handles and looks. Like she's just a lame character.
Why did I say that's not a good combination anyway? So, yeah.
I 100% agree with you, Trevor. I hate her. She's my least favorite character in the whole game. That said, I think Pharah's dance might make up for it. She's air guitaring on her rocket launcher with mildly sexual explosions coming out of the back.
Yeah, I was going to say that's super
Everyone liked that one a lot. I did like that one a lot.
I'm sorry, but Sombra's is definitely my favorite because I definitely spent a lot of time learning how to do that when I was in high school.
Sombra's is the best.
The shuffling?
Yes. Yeah. It's so good. I'd say Sombra, then Roadhog.
Good too.
What's your face's interpretive dancing is hilarious too. Widowmaker's like, I'm going to do interpretive ballet. And I'm like, oh, you pretentious bastard.
I was wondering what they were going to do because I was wondering if they were going to go full Night Elf with her and have her do that like weird Night Elf dance from WoW, the like French sexy dance or whatever. And then they went with ballet, and at first I was like, that's really lame. That's probably the lamest looking of the dances. Then I was like, well, I guess it's really fitting for her character, but it's still really lame looking in my opinion. Although Reapers Reapers is fucking amazing.
I wasn't surprised.
Reapers is the best. No, I think it's the best. Are you kidding me? Reapers is being the edgelord fucking emo kid at a concert. You like can see he's like tapping his foot to it, and then somebody sees he's enjoying himself, and he gets all flustered and sighs, and that's the whole animation.
What makes it so funny is I've gone to raves and I've seen I've seen actual people do that.
There's always that one guy. You just stand in one place and maybe shift your weight from one foot to the other.
And the worst part is too, though, like sometimes like if you're at like warehouse raves, you have like dudes like that who like will stand right next to the speakers and will pretend like they're not getting their eardrums just like blown out. I'm so edgy and like in my edginess that I'll stand next to the speakers and my heart's so dark I don't even notice. And I'm like, dude.
I love that Reaper was definitely supposed to be the cool character, and the community just decided that he's like a fucking emo teenager, and then the developers were just like, well, yeah, I guess you're right. Like they just embraced that, because he was definitely supposed to be the cool one in the beginning, and he became like the character that the youngest kids pick because he's got a skeleton face and he wears black. He's so edgy, guys.
Yeah. The best one is the white guy old dad dancing from Soldier 76.
Oh yeah, that one is really good.
Him or Torbjorn, they're stupid dances.
Wait, what about Roadhog though?
Maze is like the cutest though. Maze's dance is so cute.
What about Roadhog though, you guys? That's a total dad dance.
Funny, no, dude, Winston's is hilarious though. I'm just like
basically the dances are definitely the highlight of the update. In case you guys haven't gathered it from us talking about it for 10 minutes.
I think we spent more time talking about the dancing than the actual content.
Yeah, we definitely did. But they're really good, you guys.
So we're like, yeah, I'm kind of fine with that.
Exactly. Anyways, though, yeah. So check it out. It's live now. Go ahead and jump in and enjoy it while it lasts. Next up, we have some PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds news, specifically because I've skipped forward in the news, just to throw everyone off. This is a really cool story. I just wanted to touch on it briefly. There is a new community-driven game mode, unofficial game mode, that players have been putting together completely outside of like the development of the game. And it's kind of ironic, in my opinion, because that mode is zombies. Funnily enough, probably the only feature that this is missing that most other Battle Royale games include as a kind of stopgap until their netcode is good enough. I do find that very amusing. The way it works is one squad of 4 players teams up against 96 players who go in completely unarmed, unarmored, except for a single melee weapon, and they play as zombies. whereas the squad of 4 gets to kit up and try to survive against just waves of real-life players coming after them. It is hilarious. As far as I can tell, this is really something that's more limited to big streamers at the moment, because you have to set it all up on your own, which is not easy to do. They don't really have super powerful, server tools at the moment. But this is definitely something that I would kill to see rolled in as an official game mode. Like, look up some of the videos if you guys aren't quite sure what I'm talking about. It's super goofy and super fun. Trevor, since you are a big player of this game, I'm curious what you think about this mode.
I watched a couple of the big streamers, like you said. You guys in the thousands of viewership can just whip up some people joining, watching it, and they usually don't play in it. So the streamer will just be the broadcaster, and they'll have like they're a drone and they can watch.
Sure.
I think it's, from a streaming standpoint, extremely fun, because you can go first person with the fun to watch for the group, watching them loot up. But like when and of course this game has, I call it dead period in the middle, where the mid circles, a lot of people have died or whatever, and so you don't really see much. Why these guys are getting looted, there's not a lot happening. But interestingly, you're seeing lots of these guys have their Discords, right? And then they'll open up a channel or two to the zombies, where there's just hundreds of people in Discord channels, or several channels. They divide into groups, right? They take areas in the map, and then they set up ambushes. So
it's so good.
Watching guys, like, they'll run up on a house and be, all right, we need to get something. We got to run in here real quick and check it out. It's just like every zombie movie you've ever seen. But all the zombies can hear you driving up in a car, and they're hiding in a house. And so you see them going up in a house, and you see the door open, and you see like 30 people run out of a house.
It's the worst, because it's zombies,
in different directions.
But they're smart zombies. Like, they're not. It's not like they hear you and they come for you. It's like they ambush you when you go in the building. Fuck that.
It's like literally some like Dawn of the Dead level craziness, right?
Oh, exactly. And then you see, there's one guy sitting at the top of the stairs, and of course he's just lighting people up. But like, when's he gonna run out of ammo? Like, does he have a sniper rifle, or does he have like a Tommy gun? And the drops are still in the game, so like you see them going for drops, and then zombies are coming from. They'll set up a circle, right? Let them go in, and then they'll just ascend from every direction. It's pretty fun to watch.
One of the coolest things I saw was watching I was watching a Twitch stream, and in real time I watched. The zombies they had used the bridge to the southern island as a choke point to try and stop the zombies, and basically stop them on the bridge, and a group of zombies continued coming across the bridge slowly, and while they were shooting at the zombies on the bridge, 2 other groups split off into a pincer movement, swum across the channel, and then came up behind them and just wiped them out.
It's really hard, yeah. It's really hard to shoot anyone in the water, too. So, like, they knew they were coming, and they're like, oh, God.
Yes. And it's so good, too, when you just have those moments where they'll, like, crest a hilltop, and there's literally 40 zombies pouring out of a single doorway coming your way, all just dead in a dead sprint for you. You're just like, oh fuck. Like, it just looks like a total blast. This is something I really hope that they do add as an official mode, because I don't think that only streamers should be able to put this stuff together. I think it'd be a total blast to be able to just queue up for something like this if you're feeling a little more casual. Probably my biggest complaint about Battlegrounds is that it's so intense all the time that I don't like to have like videos on in the background while I'm playing it. I'm wearing headphones usually, all that. It'd be nice to have a more casual game mode, I think, as well. So I really hope that we see this brought into the main game.
Yeah, it takes a lot of mental acuity to play that game for a long period of time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Definitely. Anyways, though, yeah, that is just a really cool unofficial mode, so here's hoping we see some official support in the not-too-distant future. Next up, we just have a quick announcement I wanted to touch on. As with every Rockstar game ever, Red Dead Redemption 2 has been delayed. It is not going to be coming out at the end of this year. Instead, it will be sometime in 2018. Not really a whole lot more to say about it, just wanted to let everyone know if they hadn't assumed it already.
I'm fine with that.
For sure. This next story is an interesting one, because we talked about this briefly. I don't know if we actually did get to this last week, so I kind of want to touch on this, especially with Tom. So Overwatch has this pro league that they're putting together. And recently it has come out that the buy-in for the league is $20 million per team. First of all, your off-the-cuff reaction to that?
I thought about this because I heard you guys talk about it last week. I'm trying to look up, Minnesota United just had an MLS expansion, and I'm trying to think. I can't find the exact number. 150 million, and I believe the Las Vegas is getting a hockey team. Believe it or not, their expansion team, I believe, was like 500 million. Sometimes they do, and granted, these are not the same thing as Overwatch teams, but
especially since we're talking about established leagues,
right?
Yeah.
But
if you're gonna go into the NHL, I get it. Yeah. That's the league that's been around for like 60, 70 years, right?
Just throwing this out there, I do have a lot of information on this.
Oh, shit. Well, Tom, shut up. I want to talk to Trevor.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So just a really quick prerequisite. I have a lot of information on this. I have a personal relationship with basically a tournament service provider who's working on building up his grassroots LAN events and doing live events for games. Mm-hmm. His name's Scott, and he runs a company called Rivalcade. Rivalcade runs some of the bigger, just started running some viewership, some really high viewership tournaments, 6v6 tournaments with the bigger teams in North America. They're starting to do something in Atlantic City for the whole summer with a series of LANs and a bunch of different games.
Cool. So
they have a very they starting in Overwatch. Their tournaments are now getting 20,000-ish viewers on Twitch when they're played. So they basically, the way Blizzard approaches this thing is they're dropping the OWL, the OWL, if you will. The Overwatch League is 8 teams. You're correct. There's $20 million for a buy-in, which is insane for any which is insane for pretty much every established esports organization, especially because esports organizations, for example, Luminosity, who I have a good relationship with, they run a bunch of different games, they pay a bunch of different players, and they don't have $20 million to devote to one of their games.
Right. Not everybody can be like, I will just use the profits from my baseball team to feed into my Overwatch League buy-in or whatever. Because I feel like they really are courting like existing traditional sports owners.
Sports owners, yes. And that's why the Dolphins own the Miami team and getting a buy-in and this and that, which from a business standpoint is a great way to make the bridge between possibly because the thing I'm having a lot of conversations with people in this space, in the tournament hosting space, just about building that at least in North America, the fandom that it's going to take esports where everyone thinks it's going into these huge businesses, right? So a good way to do that is to involve these big teams, and so basically Rivalcade is trying to figure out where they fit in that. Are they the minor leagues? Are they going to be the amateur scene? Are they going to continue hosting tournaments, or does Blizzard want to do everything, or do they want to have full control over the pros? Now, my baseball experience comes in a big way in that I kind of see how these things progress, and esports reminds me of where baseball was before players unions became, before players made enough money to make it as a full-time career and didn't have to work in the offseason, basically.
But also before baseball was the most expensive, in terms of buying teams and hiring players sport in existence too, right?
Absolutely. So players got basically money moved into the game. As money moved into the game, players realized they started to get leverage because it became a very, very important for these teams to win.
Right.
Became a big business, right? So if this OWL is creating something that it's being seen in Dota, or not Dota, sorry, League. No, well, actually Dota too, but in Asia, it's big. It's big. There's lots and lots of money in it, and these players are like celebrities.
Yeah,
we don't have that here yet. So these guys, even the highest paid Overwatch players, aren't making enough money. Not making an insane amount of money where kids are 12 and they're like, I want to play video games because you can make it a new career. That doesn't exist for Overwatch yet.
Right. Here. Definitely. Really quick.
Streaming does.
Really quick. I just wanted to ask you, what's your quick take on the fact that they are going to be offering this official minor league? How does that compare to the major league to you?
So that's where I'm really excited. I was literally going right there.
Sorry.
Basically, it's fine. They're creating that. Basically, what they're doing is right now, the line between being a professional and an amateur is basically just saying I'm a professional or saying I'm an amateur. There's no it's fuzzy. There's no way to tell because the money doesn't really tell you anything. There's some pro teams that aren't being paid anything, but are they really pros? So they're being, they're not being paid.
Right, exactly.
They can say they are because they play it all the time, but you know, there's no way to tell.
Well, and you can make it into a tournament and never win, and then where does that leave you?
Yeah, exactly. And how did you even get in the tournament? Did you know somebody? Did you what?
Were there just or in this case, were there even enough teams to put a bracket together?
Absolutely. So now that Blizzard's hey, the pros are going to be our league, the OWL. Now that we're going to have a pro league, and there's going to be a line between these guys who aren't in the league are amateur, these guys who are in the league are pro. We're going to create a minor league team that creates the hype for the new player, the new team. Who's new? Who's coming in? Who's going to compete? Who is next? And that's the hype machine now that we live in the internet age, right? Everything's now that these are video games. Baseball has basically embraced the hype machine, and Tom knows this very, very well.
It's absurd.
It's absurd, right? Baseball America is huge now because they can tell you who's coming, even though they've never played. Against professional big leaguers, you don't know, but you do know.
So
that culture is going to come, and I love that they're doing a minor league so that these teams see a path to get to that big leagues. That's exciting, and that's kind of how these things get going. So I'm excited about it. I think it's great.
I'm curious, do you feel like this really offers a proper path to the major leagues outside of a scouting thing? Because that's one concern that I had that is definitely a thing. It certainly wouldn't be something I'd hope for in established sports just because it doesn't really make much sense. But one of the things I would kind of hope for with the minor league is that the payouts for these tournaments would be enough that if you have a dedicated group of minor league players who are winning tournaments consistently, they can eventually transition to the majors. But with the prize pools I'm seeing on these minor league games, it's a joke. I mean, $50,000 prize for an Overwatch tournament just because you can't buy. I mean, right now the free entry tournaments that you don't have to be any kind of established pro or have a home team or whatever have $1 million+ prize pools. It seems like the margin between the two leagues is a little bit rough to me. I don't know about you. Would you?
Absolutely.
As somebody who has followed grassroots esports since StarCraft, it just bothers me, the idea that you can't just have a group of good players get together and say, we're making a team. That now you have to have big money sponsorships to get off the ground.
See, that is one thing, and that's one thing I've had a big problem with how Blizzard handles it. From what I've heard from quote unquote insiders, Blizzard has a very clear vision of what they want, how they want the professional side of the game to be played, and what they want it to look like. And you've seen this in all their games. They want control, right? There's no API built into Overwatch. They could easily do that. And
For Christ's sake, there's no spectator mode in this game that's about to have an official league. I really don't understand the choice of Overwatch in general. I mean, first-person shooters are probably the least popular genre for esports. It really kind of boggles the mind.
It is, but they're basing it off the fact that it is a hybrid between a MOBA and a first person shooter, and the same thing that Destiny 2 is a hybrid between an MMO and a first person shooter. They're making these hybrids, and they think that you're going to get the people from both sides. Which
I guess, but you'd never see an MMO tournament is the thing. It's diluting the competition.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't like that.
It's like wrestling versus traditional sports. It's sometimes I just want to see the sport. I don't need all of the showmanship and entertainment value that you're adding in by hamming it up.
And that's how they want to do things, and they want to get in that. But
I'm just wondering how realistic
them being involved is worth them doing what they're doing. But yes, they do have a $50,000 a year cap if they endorse your tournaments, right? If they sponsor them, or you're allowed to put their logo up and say, hey, we're gonna run your tournaments. All right, it's cool, you just can't give away more than $50,000. That's literally put in place so that they maintain control over that, so that no one becomes the big league, so the big league doesn't pop up. One gets really popular, and then now that their prize pools are so big that they're overshadowed. They did that because they want to be in control of it, which in essence
is a little worrisome.
Kind of kills your organic build of the league.
I was going to ask you about that, because traditional sports, the inventor of the game does not own the league.
They don't.
The league is it's a group of players who grassroots came together and said, we're going to form teams, right?
Yeah, and the MLB is push and pull, right? Like the MLB doesn't just tell us what to do. The reason everyone is getting pissed at the NFL is because they just tell them what to do. They have way too much rights over their players, and the players aren't happy. So in the very end, if no one is playing the game, then none of this matters. So
you know what it makes me think of is the infamous Canadian Hockey League situation, where basically so many teams got fed up with the way that the league was being run, everyone but one team quit the league at once and formed a new league.
They said, hey, we play the game, we're the talent, and if no one who's talented is playing this game, then everything that you want to happen doesn't matter if there's no players or good players, if the quality of the player isn't good. You can't get scabs for professional players.
Exactly.
Ask how that works in the MLB strikes. It doesn't. No one watches. No one cares.
Well, and I'm not tuning in for Blizzard. I'm tuning in for the players.
For the players, absolutely. So I say we need as much competition as possible, but at least doing a minor league system and saying, hey, you can play and you can have an opportunity, at least one step. This is like one of a lot of things. There's going to be a whole amateur scene that needs to be filled,
right? Which
brings me back to that company that I talked to, and I have a good relationship because I want to help them build that amateur side of things with showcases and getting new players in. And as this game gets, because it's a Blizzard game, it's going to last for a while here. And the way that they update it, it's going to last for quite a bit. They're going to have people coming in and leaving and coming back and leaving. That's just how it works. As they do that, there's kids that are 11, 12, 13 that are going to be 15, 16, or that are the next Overwatch prodigies, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to have some way to say, if I do this, and this, if I play in this tournament and I try out here and all this stuff works out and I go to these tournaments and win them, then I can eventually play at the highest level. That is how you create that fandom from the ground up. That is how I became a professional baseball player. I said when I was 15, if I go do this tournament, if I go play on this travel team, we go here and play in these tournaments. I go to college or I get drafted, and then I move up to the minors, and then I get to the big leagues. I could see from that point where I was at that time in my life into the big leagues, and I knew every step. If, of course, it all has to go well, but there was a path. And right now, even in esports in general, it's like, who'd you play against on a stream, or who do you know to get a tryout for a team?
Exactly. It's very nepotistic right now.
If they foster that, if they get behind it and say, hey, this is all great and this is building our game, then it could be something kind of unprecedented.
For sure. And I want to note too, there's a really big thing that comes of this that I 100% approve of, and that is laying the groundwork for regional teams in the United States. If something competitive is going to succeed in the United States of America, we need to fight the other states. We have to. It's how we are. It's how we are bred to be. We compete with the other states in this country. And so once we have local teams, I think there's going to be a lot more interest from people who have never heard of esports before, because how many people have you gone to a sports game with who don't know the rules of the game, but they cheer for the home team? It's a real thing that people do. And so I think that even if the Overwatch League crumples, which of course I hope it succeeds, but even if it is not the biggest success in the world, it's going to lay the groundwork for these regional teams that I think are really important to the future of esports in this country.
So
especially here. Yes, that's very important.
So I was going to say, along those lines, the fees may be absurd, but the one thing you don't want is for example, I think the Brewers played a year in Seattle when they started out and moved. I know New Jersey's hockey team started in Kansas City for 2 years and moved to Colorado. It's not good for these leagues to have some mobility is fine, but one thing with having those high fees is it does show some sort of commitment where look, they have enough, money in their pocket to support the team and it's not going to fold or move, and so maybe that's the one upside to having a relatively high cost.
For sure, and hopefully we'll see that money put back into the minor leagues. That's what I'd really like to see. Is that I can't imagine that there's. What are they going to do? Build stadiums? What do they need all that money for? Prize pools is all I can think of.
Yeah. The thing I'll tell you, and you can ask Trevor about this. Baseball really doesn't do that, so I don't know. Maybe
but unlike baseball, I have a feeling that even pro esports players are not going to be receiving massive salaries. They're probably going to be making a decent salary wage. I doubt it's even going to be a minor league athlete. It's probably an average professional job type thing is what I would guess. I doubt we're going to be seeing
minimum
with with massive, yeah, exactly, bare minimum.
I mean maximum. Sorry, like this isn't a secret. LG Evil's team is probably top 20 in the world in Overwatch. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're like probably on the cusp, top 10 North American teams, maybe. They're top 8 probably, and they make like $2 to $4 grand a month.
Right? Well, exactly. Yeah. And it's worth noting, too, that one of the benefits of putting this into a more structured league is a lot of these events don't pay out the winning teams. We read about it all the time, where it's like, yeah, it's been 8 months since we were owed like, $5 grand, and none of us have seen any of it. And what's going on with that? Between poor team management and poor tournament organization, I think having more structure is going to make a big difference.
Yeah. The sky's the limit, I think. Structure gets, but there's gonna be there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for just third party, just all kinds of businesses being built around it, and that's when things take off. Broadcast rights, people doing analytics, all kinds of stuff. It's just gonna happen faster with esports because it's exponentially happening faster than other traditional sports. We have the internet now, and everything's played on the internet, so everything's so real time that a lot of this stuff is just gonna, and we've seen it in other things, as the money pours in, the structure will come very quickly, and players will start to form. Attorneys are already starting to pour in to try to represent player. Like, it's already happening.
It's kind of a reverse Field of Dreams thing. If you play it, they'll build it. But yeah. Anyways, we've gone on about this. Trevor, I really appreciate the insight. Very, very interesting. I'll be very curious to see how that continues. However, we are basically coming up on the end of the show here, but there are a couple of news stories that I just want to breeze over because they are at least interesting. First up, this is more of an announcement. You guys, I can't fucking believe it. They're rebooting the Resident Evil series.
They don't need
the movies. A German studio
again.
Has gotten the rights now to... the same German studio that produced the first 6 has said they are going to reboot the series and produce another 6. Likely not by U-Ball, and with not starring Mila Jovovich or whatever. But yeah, they're going to go back and try and do it again, which is not that surprising. I mean, it's the best-selling video game movie adaptation of all time. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm always embarrassed that it is. I'm totally okay with it not ever happening. It's not going to be based on Resident Evil, the story, anyways. So really, just let it die, you guys, please. I was so happy when it was finally over. Next up, we have just a funny little thing. You guys remember we announced that Destiny 2, which is going to be available on PC, is actually going to be purchased and run through the Battle.net, or rather Blizzard launcher, which is weird, but I guess makes sense since Activision Blizzard owns Bungie. But, Activision and Blizzard are the same company. A lot of people forget that. But the funny thing about this is that it's caused an overnight spike in the value of WoW tokens. If you guys don't know, in-game in WoW, you can spend gold that you get from the game on these current token currencies that can be used to buy Overwatch skins and loot boxes. They can be used for Hearthstone packs. You can actually use them to get in-game time in World of Warcraft, or they can be converted back into in-game currency. You can also purchase them with real-life money, and it's supposed to be like Blizzard's way of controlling gold farmers and getting more money out of you. So, cool, neat system, whatever. Destiny 2 gets announced on the launcher, and everyone starts speculating that you'll be able to purchase it with WoW tokens. When I was last playing, WoW tokens were going for about 35,000 gold apiece. As of them making it so you can use it on packs and stuff in other games, they jumped up to about 80,000 gold apiece. And as of the announcement of Destiny 2, it is now settling right around 120,000 gold apiece. Which I just think is so funny, especially because we don't really have, I don't really see WoW tokens being usable in, it's going to be Blizzard games that they're usable for. Just because it's available through the Battle.net app doesn't mean they're going to let you use WoW tokens. I don't think there's any way that's going to happen. So it's kind of funny. I think a lot of people just lost thousands of gold overnight for no reason.
Absolutely. And Destiny 2, we don't even know when it's coming out for PC, so just calm down.
Yeah, I know it's coming out for consoles in September. The PC is probably going to be last quarter or maybe first quarter of 2018.
I could see him just right at the end of the last quarter around this. What's it called? Oh yeah, Christmas.
What they'll do is they'll push it out Christmas, and then they'll patch in the stuff that was all promised maybe a year later.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Destiny jokes.
I'm gonna play it either way.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Oh, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it.
Are you gonna
man.
get it for PC?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm freaking.
We're gonna have to all
excited,
squad up, you
buy
guys.
it, which is kind of ironic.
We'll all have to squad up.
It'll be fun.
All right.
Hundreds of hours into that. So
one more story, really briefly here. This is actually just an announcement. I just wanted to touch on this. You guys know how much I've been lamenting that they have discontinued the production on the NES Classic. Well, here's something to make you even more annoyed with Nintendo, because they really do hate money, you guys. Guess what? The NES Classic was the second best-selling console last month. Period. It outsold the Xbox One and the PS4.
I mean, part of that is scarcity, but yeah, they should make
No, it's not, because what you should realize is there's a limited number of units, and there's not a limited number of other consoles. There was only so many that could be bought, and they were the second best-selling console.
It's
which means over the course of that time period, they outsold all other major current-gen consoles.
The point...
You gotta remember, that's not a current-gen console. That's a portable emulator for old games.
And Nintendo's not producing it anymore because they hate money. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on that because it's just fucking infuriating and makes no sense.
Well, Nintendo has so much goddamn money. I feel like just look at it
If you can buy 50 games for $60, why the heck would you spend $10 on Super Mario Bros. 3 on the Virtual Console, guys? They're undercutting their own market. Ugh. Anyways,
they have so much money they don't even know
Pi.
how to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
We talked about that briefly a couple of weeks ago. One of my coworkers just did a Raspberry Pi emulation build. Very cool. We still play it in the office all the time.
Fun.
Anyways, though, that is going to do it for today's episode. As I'm sure you guys can tell, this has been procedurally generated. We hope you've enjoyed listening. Please be sure to check us out on iTunes as well as Podbean, and you can leave a rating or review. You can also follow us on Twitter at PG_show. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, game on.
Game on.